Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the time and opportunity. Let me introduce ourselves. We are Group 12 from 3SC2 class. Okay, from me, my name is Witra Kadino, and here is my partner, Sultan Faiz Zahran. Today, we want to explain our research about analysis of difference from Zahman framework and the OGAF ADM, or the Open Group Architecture Framework Architecture Development Method. The first, we start from the first slide will be explained by me. Okay, in this presentation, we want to explain about background, image of framework, analysis, and the last conclusion. Okay, the first I want to explain about our background. Uh, this is explain why we took this title. Enterprise architecture, or EA, is a description of the stakeholder mission, which includes information, functionality, or usability, organizational location, and performance parameters. Enterprise architecture describes a plan to develop a system or set of systems. The main use of the enterprise architecture is to inform, guide, and limit decisions for organization, especially in making information technology investments. There are two enterprise architecture frameworks that are often used in development, namely Zahman framework and TOGAF ADM. In this ESAs, an explanation will be made between the two with the aim of getting a new perspective. Okay, the first is Zahman framework. We can see in beside of explanation there are image from Zahman framework. The baseline of the Zahman framework is showing a two-dimensional matrix consisting of artifacts or elements in the columns and perspectives or points of view in each row, which aims to more detailed and implementable view. The advantage of this Zahman framework is that it is easy to help group elements in an enterprise and is relatively simple because it only has two dimensions. The entire line of six lines in the Zahman framework in figure 1 represents six perspectives, whereas you go down to produce more detailed artifacts. Here are six lines in Zahman framework. First, planner. The planner's point of view includes the activity of establishing the background, scope, and objectives of the enterprise information system. In this perspective, the direction and objectives of the enterprise business are defined. Second, owner. The owner's point of view relates to the recipient or end user or service of the enterprise. In this perspective, models relate to business needs, products, services from the owner are described. Third, designer. The designer's point of view is concerned with intermediary activities between what the owner wants and what is technically and physically achievable. In this perspective, a model that describes in detail the existing business process is needed, and technical design model is described, which forms, which forms the basis for the implementation guidelines for the enterprise information system to be built. Fourth, builder. The builder's point of view is related to the construction of an enterprise information system architecture based on predetermined design model. In this perspective, the technical model of application on data design is described. Fifth, the implementers. point of view is related to models that describe the parts that will be included in the final product or finished product from various elements in enterprise information system. And last, user. The user's point of view is the implementation perspective of an enterprise information system. This perspective relates to the final result in the form of software products from the system that has been developed, including software interface that determine the extent to which software is used to support business process. Okay, while the 6 columns each describe the type of artifact. Here are the 6 columns. The first is what. This column focuses on data entities and provides an overview of the enterprise needs for information. It also discusses the relationship between entities, the efficiency of data storage, and the database technology used. Second, how. This column is very important because it relates to business process running is an enterprise and determine what kind of information system is suitable to achieve the vision and the mission of enterprise. Third, where. This column focuses on describing how information and process are distributed in a company enterprise. Fourth, who. This column focuses on who contributes to the work related and describe how the relationship between work and the structure of responsibility and authority is in the enterprise. Fifth, when. This column focuses on the time and cycles and is used to design the relationship between events. And last, why. This column focuses on goals and objectives as well as strategies or methods for managing an enterprise system to run according to the initial objectives. Okay, the next is TOGIF ADM will be explained by Sultan Faiz Zahar.
And the next is the OGAF ADM. What it means is the Open Group Architecture Framework Architecture Development Method. TOGIF is an enterprise information system architecture framework that has been widely used. The advantages possessed by the OGAF compared to the Zachman framework are that there are other aspects such as gap analysis, governance, change management, and the existence of requirement base that is not yet available on segment framework. However, one of the drawbacks of the OGAF is that there is no visible layer or level from the view like the one in segment framework. Next is the OGAF itself already as a methodology in EA development, namely TOGIF EDM architecture development method, which is shown in this slide. So there are preliminary phase, requirement management, phase A, architecture vision, phase B, business architecture, phase C, information system architecture, phase D, technology architecture, phase E, opportunities and solution, phase F, integration planning, phase G, implementation governance, and phase H, architecture change management. The first one, preliminary phase, is the stage to determine the principal framework and tools to be used. Second is requirement management. Management of enterprise information system needs to be built. Each stage of development is built based on business needs. Phase A, architecture vision. Define project scope, boundaries, and expectation. Create a development vision. EA, define stakeholders, validate the business context. And fourth, Phase B, business architecture. The stage is to analyze the business process carried out as a whole by the enterprise and describe it in a visual form so that it is easily understood by stakeholders. Phase C, information system architecture. The stage is to develop the remaining architecture of information system, namely the data architecture and the required application based on the running business process. Phase D, technology architecture. Stage is to develop computer network technology infrastructure, which is the main foundation in the implementation of enterprise information. Phase E, opportunities and solutions. The stage of evaluating and selecting implementation options as a target of enterprise architecture development. Phase F, migration planning. The stages of analyzing cost, benefits, and risks, developing a list of project priorities based on the basic importance of implementation, and making a migration plan. Phase G, implementation governance. Stages for preparing and issuing architectural contracts, ensuring that the implementation is based on the correct enterprise architecture and can be implemented as expected. Phase H, architecture changes management. The stage of conducting continuous monitoring to ensure that the architecture and development respond to the enterprise dynamically. So the conclusion is there are several stages of TOGAF ADM that are not presented in the segment framework. The perspective in the segment framework is only up to the technology architecture or stages in TOGAF ADM. And our suggestion is, according to our observation, we suggest conducting further observation and research so that this thinking can be developed better and can be used as a reference as an architectural system that support the stakeholder mission, which includes information functionality and usability, organizational, location and performance parameter, as well as describing plans for develop a system or set of system. So that is for our presentation. Thank you for your attention. We are group 12. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.